Alright, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Game 14 of the league season. I'm your host and streamer, JT, and I am being joined by my good friend, Shame, who will be co-casting today. I sound like an airline pilot, but yeah, let's get it going. So we've got Grim Pantry today as the map. We have Supercharger 121 as the killer, and he is opting to play as the nurse. So, I'm not expecting a whole lot of action at the start of the map, just because it's Grim Pantry. It's going to be pretty hard for the killer to find people initially, so we'll keep an eye on what he's doing and intermittently check on the survivors. Actually, Mysterious Mythic is the only one to have a heartbeat right now. Let's see if he gets found. Supercharger's just patrolling the gens. It seems he's found Jimmy the 13th, but he misses his first blink hit by mistake. Wasn't a little... Who's he chasing now? Costco, I think? Yeah, he's chasing Costco. And Costco gets a nice pallet block on the swing.
Yeah, I think it goes both ways. I think the survivors are going to be able to get that objective working together.
This is kind of...
And Costco also gets his...
This is kind of just a gen rushing map, to be honest, because nobody likes to play against any killer on Swamp. It's a lot of bad pallet RNG.
Yeah, unlucky.
Yeah. So just watching Supercharger try to find some people right now. He actually lands a really long swing on Junrei. He juked sort of into it. He opts to vault the window rather than blink through it. And someone's just popped the gen above him. Let's take a look at the survivors. Mythic outside of the building, Costco working on a generator, Jimmy the 13th above him on the main building, and Junrei injured running around up top as well. I don't think Supercharger knows where anybody is. I think he lost them. That's unfortunate.
Well, JT, he did vault the window as a nurse.
Yeah, interesting. Supercharger just kind of lost everybody. He had a good lead on Junrei and everybody on the main building, but yeah, unfortunately he lost sight of him. He's just patrolling generators again. Mysterious Mythic creeping around where he just left. Costco still at the main building. Jimmy the 13th on a new generator, and Junrei helping him repair that as well. Oh shoot, we should probably change to spectating Supercharger since he's just hit Jimmy the 13th.
Not as much progress as you would expect out of the survivors who are mainly focusing on gen rushing, but at the same time, not a lot of progress coming out from the killer as well.
Yeah, this is a really slow game so far, not a whole lot of action. I think Supercharger, there's no way he hasn't seen Jimmy at this point. He's just opting not to blink until he gets within point-blank range for some reason.
Some reason?
Okay. Well, he waited to blink at the pallet and unfortunately missed because he vaulted right back over. Jimmy the 13th just kind of running away from him in the... What do you call these? Reeds? I think they're called reeds.
Small boats or the long plants?
Yeah, these long plants.
The cattails?
Cattails, that's right, that's right. Well, Supercharger's lost Jimmy again, unfortunately, so he's just gonna get healed up by, I think that's Mr. Mythic? Yeah. Costco's found himself a toolbox. He can use that to either sabo or repair a generator, so that's interesting. Not the best find, but it works. I think Junrei is being chased right now. Or maybe Supercharger's just near him. Oh yeah, Supercharger's definitely found him and misses his swing onto the boxes. And then misses his blink swing right after. Very unfortunate.
Yeah. The nurses are it's really good at accumulating a lot of points, especially just based off of its point generation. It's really beneficial to killers who know how to use it. But
definitely.
Yeah, but it just seems like some people maybe think that Supercharger isn't doing well, but at the same time, not a lot of people play Nurse because of the bad reputation it has and just other things.
Yeah.
So I think that if he had any other killer, he wouldn't be doing as poorly as some might think. But I think that it's just difficult to get used to a killer, like especially as a Nurse that you haven't used.
Yeah, it's
ever.
especially difficult to get used to holding a blink for 2 seconds and then being teleported to the second floor of a building, as we just saw happen to Supercharger.
Yeah.
That was very interesting.
Yeah, it's fairly obvious that he doesn't know how to use the killer, and that's actually a good thing if you think about it.
Yeah, so I think he's just chasing
Wow,
around
that
Jim
is
right at the
one
moment.
weirdly glitched. Okay.
I don't know
That's
if
a nice
that
pallet there.
I don't know if that pallet is just on my side or if that's for the survivors as well.
I don't know either way. It's very confusing.
Yeah. Nonetheless, hopefully they can put it to good use. So we have
Jenner
this
trying to get a heal.
messed up black aura on our screen, but we can still pretty much see what's going on. Supercharger chasing Costco at the moment.
I believe the term is scuffed.
You may be right there. There's a lot of generators making noise around him. Like, all of them have been touched to a certain extent. There are no 0% generators. They're evenly spreading out the repairs, which is pretty good.
Just evenly spreading out their objective.
This really isn't looking too good for a Supercharger. That's like, what, 2 99-ish gens and they only need to pop 3 more with 0 hooks going out. Could spell,
Like you said, it doesn't seem as he knows too much about the killer. He knows how to use it too well, but it is beneficial toward... Oh, that aura did go away. It is beneficial for the survivors, however, because they can easily feed off of that altruism, because getting the hit and not being able to follow up with a down is definitely going to do some good and bring a lot of heals to the team.
Yeah, Supercharger is definitely newer to Nurse. That's for sure.
Of course, of course.
I think Jimmy the 13th got the points for that pallet stun, but it didn't register the actual animation onto the Nurse.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate.
As long as he gets the points, though, I say that's successful in my book.
Especially with the stun coming through with the blink.
The
Either way.
Bloodlust won as a Nurse. That is interesting. He finally gets the blink down onto Jimmy the 13th. This should be Supercharger's first hook. Granted, he has to get there first. Hopefully they don't body block him at the basement stairs.
If I'm correct, there are 3 generators left, at least on my screen. I may be a little bit delayed, and the first hook. So that obviously is still very beneficial towards the survivors, but at the same time, I think that maybe Supercharger can bring it back, but we'll just have to see.
Jimmy the 13th actually just wiggled off of Supercharger's shoulder at the basement. So he still hasn't even gotten his first hook, unfortunately. This definitely could be a bad match for Supercharger if the survivors keep this up.
You hate to see it. You hate to see it.
It's really painful to watch, especially on Swamp. It's already hard enough for the killer.
Yeah, Nurse isn't the most popular killer among them. Also, like I said, I don't expect him to know how to use it too thoroughly, but I do expect him, however, to gain at least a small amount of points. But it just seems like he has never touched the killer at all.
Correct.
I wouldn't.
Supercharger should be taking much more advantage of his blink to use just as movement. You know, as a hillbilly would use his chainsaw to go across the map.
I feel like he is. I don't know if he's trying to use. I don't understand. I think he thinks that M2ing with the Nurse does anything more than lunge yourself forward or teleport you. He seems to think that it does anything to the survivor, because he'll get right up on the back of Costco and not swing. Instead, he'll M2, which is really confusing.
Yeah, I'm not
I guess
too
it's
sure.
just another example of how unfamiliar he is with the killer as a whole.
Well, Supercharger has actually just hit full circle hunting. He's been finding a lot of survivors, so That's pretty much the rarest form of points you can get as killer, because you can get your 2500 bonus for killing everybody. You obviously get max brutality from smacking them around a lot, sacrifice for getting multiple hooks, but hunting is a really key point in scoring high as killer, because if you kill people quickly and efficiently, you don't get to catch them as many times, which means you lose out on hunting. But he's actually gotten ahead on that, which is pretty good for him. You know, if he does bounce back from this and gets a victory somehow, he should have a lot of points.
Of course. I don't think he knows what he's doing by any means. I don't think he has a set plan. But like I said earlier, with the point generation on the nurse, he can easily get a solid score.
Definitely. The nurse is literally a point farm. If you think about, oh, and he downs Jimmy right by a hook, I'm pretty sure he's gonna finally get this one. Definitely. But as I was saying, the point generation on the nurse is very crazy, because once you find a survivor, you get hunting. Once you blink and lend a hit, you get brutality plus influences. So that's all 3 categories in one, and Supercharger's smacking Jimmy on the hook. I guess he's frustrated with how long he wasn't able to finally get him on there.
I would be just as frustrated. I remember, I don't even think he can open his blood web without getting a notification. I think he's literally never touched his killer.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He's charging up a long blink. Ends up hitting Jimmy the 13th again right outside of the small shack.
What an insane player.
And it seems as though he's tunneling Jimmy, but I hope he knows that he won't be able to hook him if he does down him, because that'll be in violation of the tunneling. Unless there's some type of... I remember someone mentioned something about generators being popped and allowing tunneling at some point, but I can't remember right now.
Really? So there's a tunneling rule?
Yeah.
Implemented.
I guess he's gonna hook him anyways. Maybe he's not in violation of anything. I can't be sure because I don't tunnel people normally when I play killer.
Well, was Jimmy healed up when he hit him? Of course he was, or
yeah.
else he wouldn't be able to hit him.
It's just a re-hooking thing in general. You know, hooking the same person right after they get off. Not too sure. But he does find Mr. Mythic and whiff the hit on him.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like...
all the survivors just kind of hanging out near the hook right now. Costco was behind Supercharger just a minute ago, and he is taking the save to get some of those altruism points. Almost full circle, actually.
It seems like they understand the situation they're in, and they're trying to use it to the best of their... They're trying to get the most out of it as much as they can, getting as many points as they can, as many...
Yeah, you'll generally see that in these types of games, if the killer shows inexperience in what they're doing, the survivors do tend to take advantage of that and farm and get all their points maximum.
Of course.
Which is the smart thing to do. I mean, who wouldn't? It's free points.
Yeah.
So Costco's running around looking for a heal. Jimmy the 13th within heartbeat, but I don't think he's been seen. Junrei very close to the killer, and actually Mr. Mythic is the one being chased at the moment. But I'm not sure Supercharger knows exactly where he went, because he's opting to break a pallet rather than continue chase.
I actually saw Junrei pass a generator. I think they have every generator they need 99. So I think they can leave the game at any time, but obviously they're going to go for more altruism and...
Could be. Costco and Jimmy are on 2 generators that are halfway, or they're both near to.
Okay. I assumed.
Seems Mysterious Mythic has finally gotten away from Supercharger. He looped around in the main building and went back outside. The Supercharger's seen Junrei on top of the building.
Junrei just kind of toying with him a bit.
I think he's lost him. He's looking around like he has no idea where he's gone. You know, one interesting thing about this game is when you are looking out onto the horizon of these maps, you can see the character model's hair from very far away.
Yeah,
like, have you noticed that? Like through the fog?
Yeah.
Like through the fog, you can see them so far away. And I'm pretty sure that's what Supercharger just noticed, and that's why he's walking over here, because I did see 2 heads. Let's take a look at the survivors if he is close. He is close to Mysterious Mythic. Jimmy the 13th going into the basement to try and get some loot, but it's already been taken by somebody else. Yeah, these guys are pretty much done with this game. All the gens they need are done.
I think they've exploited his inexperience to the best of their ability. I think it's pretty much a done deal here. I think Supercharger did get a decent set of points. I don't think he did terrible by any means, but I do believe that if he was just a bit more educated on the nurse, he would be able to do a lot better.
Yeah, he's actually full circle hunting and brutality. I'd have to see what his deviousness is looking like. I know his sacrifice is low. He's actually max hunting, so that's about 13,000 points guaranteed for him. Okay, his deviousness is quarter of the way, not a quarter of the way. What is it? What am I thinking of? 3/4 of the way, Fulton. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Totally forgot how to math for a moment.
He should get a. I can't.
Supercharger has just been notorious for losing people, but he finally gets the down on Costco. With a lot of survivors nearby him right now.
Wow. Oh, that's a lucky hit for him. There's a lot of survivors there.
Yeah, lucky to get the injured person.
Luckily.
Swung a bit prematurely there, ended up hitting the side of the jungle gym. Supercharger landing a hit on Mr. Mythic, and he actually needs about one more blink hit to hit 5k deviousness. And there it is. So even without any kills, Supercharger's gonna have a pretty solid score going out of this game, besides his sacrifice. It just goes to show how unbalanced the nurse's point generation is.
Of course. He will get a decent set of scores, but as we can see from the league season, it's just a bit discouraging because you have killers who are a little bit more experienced and can earn those 30k, 31k, 32k games with the nurse, and then when you play your killer, you kind of you get 25, and by all means that's a great score, but then you think about the insane scores that other people are getting. Just
yeah, it's one of those things where it's good, but it's not enough. You know what I mean?
Of course, of course.
Supercharger just wandering around aimlessly trying to find survivors. Costco actually within heartbeat running around trying to get away. Jimmy the 13th cleansing a totem injured, and Junrei just running around as well. Making sure those gens stay 99, I assume.
I wonder how the survivors individually are doing. I know that our killer is doing great despite his lack of kills, but I wonder how each individual survivor is doing. Okay, so that pallet is apparently was down?
Seems as though Junrei has 5k boldness and altruism, so he's been doing alright with his points. He's completely avoiding Supercharger's eyes right now, and Costco actually gonna get found. There's 2 survivors total on the ground at the moment, and he's still racking in those devious and brutality points.
Oh, this might go south for the survivors here. They need to just get the gens and get out. They have one more left, and if they don't shape up, they could end up being hooked and killed.
I'm pretty sure they'll be alright for now. There's only gonna be first hooks going out, and they still have all the gens 99. If anything, this will just spell for more. Oh, actually, Jimmy the 13th is dead. Totally forgot that he got rehooked earlier into the game. So he's definitely not going to be happy about that, getting knocked out of the game earlier.
I'm also not sure if Costco is on his second hook as well.
Alright, well, they decided to power the gates because of a death going out, and I do not blame them for that decision. Mythic running around the small killer shack, Costco at the basement shack, and Junrei opening a door. I haven't gotten a chance to see what Junrei's objective points are looking like, so this will be a good opportunity to see where he's at overall with his score. Because we do know he's over 5k in all the other categories, besides survival, obviously. The Supercharger cuts him off at the gate, but he commits to the lever, leaves it at 99.9, and gets knocked down, unfortunately. But he is over 5k objectives. So Junrei is very much on track for top score of this match, I'm pretty sure. Unless somebody else has more points than him. which I'm not too sure is the case. So Supercharger's gonna go ahead and toss him onto a hook right by the shack. Mythic getting the other exit secured, and he actually has max objective, so he very well could have more points than Junrei. I have to see what his boldness and altruism are looking like, though. Costco injured nearby the hook, trying to get a quick save. He's at max boldness as well, so all the survivors have been getting their fair share of points in this game.
Yes, each survivor being very reliable as well. Their reliability is through the roof. You don't really think that one's gonna die on the hook and go to second stage. You kind of just expect, with the performance of the killer and
Supercharger gonna go ahead and tunnel Junrei off hook. Unfortunately, gonna put him right into second stage.
Second stage.
I'm not too sure why he opted to go after him over Costco when they were both injured, but nonetheless, I suppose he is allowed.
And like I was saying, the reliability is just going to come in. I don't expect Junrei to die on the hook at all.
Yeah, and Costco was forced out of the exit gate, unfortunately, so it's only Mythic and Junrei in the game.
Junrei opting to run away rather than take the heal.
Interesting.
But I don't think Mysterious Mythic cares at all, just walking through. That cattails.
I believe he's heading for the other gate right now.
Could be a nightmare to get caught.
He's walking around looking at the floor, so he's definitely searching for the hatch at the moment, trying to cap out on some more objective.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think...
Waiting on the hatch without being healed, that may be... that's
I'm
really
99%
risky.
sure Supercharger saw him over here, and he's definitely seen the blood and heard the cries of pain, so he's on Junrei once more.
Really
and Junrei
greedy.
gets hit through some type of pallet. I'm not too sure how that was... I'm not too sure what even happened there, but regardless, Junrei is dead on hook because he was tunneled just a minute ago. I wonder if Supercharger's gonna go ahead and secure that kill or slug him out to try and find Mythic.
A little greedy on Junrei's part, but...
Very greedy. Not even being healed to look for the hatch is very dangerous. And it looks like Supercharger's gonna go ahead and knock him out of the match and secure another kill. Very unfortunate.
This, of course, leaves a lot of room for Mythic to look for the hatch, but...
Definitely. With the sound cue in play, it's a lot easier to find the hatch. And he actually has found it. He walks right into the miniature shack and he's just waiting for it to pop open. and Mythic escapes.
Mysterious Mythic just looking at him when he runs away injured. What you doing? Going to look for the hatch? Little does he know Mysterious Mythic knows exactly where it's at.
Alright, so the points for this match come out to be Costco at the top with a nice 27,000, Mythic with a nice 25,000, Junrei with 18k, and Jimmy with 16. And Supercharger without... Well, he got 2 kills at the end and secured 27k. I almost said without any sack points. He did get some at the end. Griff has opted to play as the Hag on a swamp map. Very fitting for her character. A lot of hidden spots for her traps in these grass patches by the pallet loops.
It's actually really intelligent by Griff.
Very. Taking advantage of the bad map by playing a killer who can kind of stop chases dead in their tracks with these traps. You know, a survivor vaults a pallet loop, or vaults a window, triggers a trap, and eats an instant hit for it.
Of course. And there's always just a thought process coming from Griff, which is just really astonishing, considering that, you know, maybe one person would just say, okay, I'll use Hack just because I have to on a map like Ironworks of Misery. Oh!
And it seems as though Griff tried to mind game that hit and pretend like he didn't see the survivor and swing through the pallet, but I think that was Junrei who decided to sprint through it and avoid that entirely. So you have Mythic on a generator, almost halfway being met up with by Junrei. I think he lost Griff. Jimmy the 13th on his own generator, now within the heartbeat of Griff. Just kind of sitting on the generator with him nearby. Eating a hit and 360ing afterwards, and I think he's about to go down running into 2 of Griff's traps here. Yeah, he goes down indefinitely. So Griff is already doing a much better job than Supercharger, securing a down at the start of the game with only one generator pop, trying to get some momentum and map control going.
Exactly what you would expect from a much more experienced killer.
Correct.
Correct.
No disrespect to Supercharger, he was obviously playing a killer that he was out of practice though, being the nurse. You know, most players dislike playing her, and only do so when it's absolutely necessary. I can definitely relate to that. I dislike playing her as a whole. Just gonna go ahead and kick the gen in that Jimmy was at and re-trap it. And the trap is triggered behind him within the main building by Costco. And seems Costco's found another toolbox 2 games in a row. He's currently getting into a chase with Costco. He misses a swing. I think he swung a bit too prematurely, but nonetheless, he should get the follow-up here. And he doesn't. He actually eats a pallet stun instead. Very unfortunate that he missed out on that swing beforehand.
It's always unfortunate to have to think about the short swing for killers that don't have longer swings, like the Trapper or the Billy.
Yeah, the Hag's swing is like, it's relatively long, but it's hard to compensate for her slow speed to carry that lunge, you know, a far range, if that makes sense.
Counting for the speed is definitely something that some killers may
so
find tedious.
He lands a hit on Jimmy, but he opts not to chase him. I think he's maybe holding down a 3-gen, and he finds Mythic hiding by the generator, and swings on him, lands a hit. It's gonna take him to a pallet loop. And he's gonna instantly trap the pallet loop rather than continue the chase, which could be a good move on his part if he's holding a 3-gen. Trapping up all the possible getaways for survivors
routes,
here. Yeah, that's very smart on his part. And it does seem like he is trying to hold down a 3-gen with Hag.
The success of this match is just always going to come down to how smart Griff is with his choice of killer. It's such a perfect map for I'm not sure what you would call that, for the killer's extra ability, ability.
I think it's called Black Catalyst, something like that. We'll just refer to it as the fact that she can teleport to phantasms.
Yeah. Costco and another Jimmy running.
Another trap with Griff's triggered up top. You see, this is why Hag is so perfect. In a situation where he was any other killer, running up to catch Jimmy the 13th on this building would have taken a long time, but the fact that he was able to teleport to that perfectly placed phantasm was very useful. And he just teleports right back down to chase Mr. Mythic as well.
Gosh, just
very good momentum.
Perfect map for a perfect killer. It's just... It's gonna be
another trap triggered, and he downs Mr. Mythic. He's got 2 survivors on the floor at the moment. Very good pressure by Griff so far. These trap placements are proving to be very, very good for Griff. Very smart spots.
The convenience of the traps are just amazing. Like how you would have on the Trapper, you would have to walk to every trap and then place it.
Junrei got stuck in between a rock and a hard place, if you will, and ate a hit. He just ate a hit for it, and he actually short swung at a trap hit, but he gets Junrei anyways right after, so it's all right.
Yeah, but while using another trap, but still very shocking that he missed the hit.
Griff's trap placements have been nothing short of perfect so far. He's triggering them left and right, getting hits off of them.
Griff has proven to do very well so far.
Very impressed with his performance so far. And another trap set off by Jimmy lands a hit directly onto him. He mind games to the other side of the pallet, cuts Jimmy off and hits him for the down, and goes ahead and picks him up for another hook.
Surprising he actually went and followed through with that mind game. It seemed like Jimmy actually almost got that pallet down, but it seems like the hit just came in way too...
I do believe Jimmy is the Romanian translator for the Dead by Daylight community, or something of that nature. I'm not sure if he resides in Romania, but if he does, there could have been some pallet delay on his part there. Which would explain why he didn't throw it down. But Mr. Mythic eats another shack trap, and Griff is just smacking people left and right.
Just...
Yeah.
Wow. He's also about 3/4 of the way on...
His destruction is almost maxed out. His chase is a little over halfway. And, or his hunting, rather. Not his chase. And I have yet to see his devious yet. Oh, it's actually already full circle. As expected.
With that many traps, just the convenience of the traps as a whole, it's definitely something you would assume to be filled up.
He opts to completely ignore Jimmy the 13th, not trying to tunnel anybody at all. A very respectable move on his part.
Yeah, when you're a killer like Griff, you don't necessarily have to use tricks and gimmicks to get her down.
Definitely.
Especially with so many other injured survivors.
Yeah.
It's just... It's
he has all the pressure he needs. He doesn't need to resort to anything scummy, per se. Yet, at least.
Yeah.
He seems to have unfortunately found Jimmy, though, after letting him go the first time. And he's gonna go ahead and miss the swing just by an inch at the window. He's replacing that useful trap that he used earlier. That's definitely gonna come in handy. The really unfortunate part about all this is that they've yet to loot a single flashlight, so they're pretty much forced to trigger all these traps at some point. There's no way for them to defuse it.
I wonder, is there any way, is the crouching around it or over it a thing anymore, or is that completely...
You can still crouch over it, but, you know, in the middle of a chase, you're still going to be forced to run over that trap, because he's placing all of his traps in crucial areas like pallet loops, window vaults, etc.
Be a little goofy if you're chasing somebody and when you're right behind it,
narrowly dodges that hit, but unfortunately he's going to go back down.
Ooh. I believe the mind game came in perfectly for Griff.
Definitely. It seems all three of the survivors are cooperatively working on a gen on top. Actually, no, they're just healing each other. It looked like they were from the aura of Junrei.
This is where it gets a bit nerve-wracking. 3 gens left and everybody's been on a hook, I think, and it's not looking good for the survivors, but at least one, maybe one, will be able to make the best of a bad situation.
Definitely. So they're opting to commit to the generator with Griff being very close to them in the main building. And I think Jimmy the 13th is going to be the first one to go for this save. I'm pretty sure Griff is fine with everything that's going on around him because he's been holding off this corner with his 3 generators for a while. And from his perspective, you can see that it's just littered with traps. You know,
Mr. Mythic, the one who wanted to go for that save, is definitely going to have a tough time when he's injured.
Yeah, so it seems Jimmy the 13th did secure that save onto Junrei. Mr. Mythic very close to Griff. Hopefully, no, Griff definitely heard his cries.
It's hard to imagine that any of these...
Yeah, Griff probably predicted that, didn't swing on it at all. And he's gonna go right onto a hook next to the locker he was grabbed out of. And that's actually hunting points for Griff, I believe, when he pulls somebody out of a locker, so that's also good point generation.
Yeah.
You know, Griff being a survivor, man, he's definitely not gonna fall for tricks like, you know, a survivor about to jump into a locker when it's the only thing next to them.
Of course. For a survivor, man, he's doing a great job as a killer. It's hard to imagine anybody taking his place as #1 this league season.
Griff's kind of in a tough spot, however. He does have a 3-gen lockdown, but one of his generators is about 70 to 80% done. I don't know if any of the survivors are keeping up with those numbers. They do not have voice comms actively, so they can't communicate somebody to go take care of the gen while Griff is preoccupied.
Of course, and most of them, if not all of them, are dead on hook, so it doesn't seem like there would be much of a...
Yeah, and Griff's gonna go ahead and pick up Jimmy
Griff.
after downing him at the same window loop.
I think he's dead, actually.
I'm pretty sure Jimmy the 13th is dead as well. Someone left a spooky medkit on the stairs for some odd reason.
A spooky medkit.
Yeah, Jimmy the 13th is definitely dead. And Mr. Mythic and, I think, Costco? No, Mr. Mythic is solo working this gen, the one on the hill by the shack, and it's about 60% of the way done. He's now being joined by Costco, and it could pop before Griff is able to make it over there and stop them. Oh no. Yeah, it seems
This is definitely where
Griff
he's
has
gonna have to
definitely
hope.
lost his 3-gen here, if they commit to it.
He's gonna have to pray that the
Oh,
traps
no!
work as they did in the beginning of the game.
Oh no,
It's
Mr.
finished.
Mythic failed a skill check at the last second, and they weren't able to commit the gen to 100. How unfortunate.
That is so unlucky.
They were so close to securing at least a possible escape, but I believe Griff is gonna hard camp this gen now, for sure.
Costco, understanding how crucial it is that that gen gets done, just tries to tap it a little bit when running.
Yeah. Mr. Mythic and Junrei are hopping onto a different generator, though, making the smart move to go ahead and run away from the 99 and start on another generator with co-op speed to try and get it up to the same level, so that Griff has, you know, two options. Where can I go, left or right? He has to choose one generator to protect, and unfortunately one of them might be popped behind his back. He's gonna have to get a kill at this point without losing a generator to have two people alive and apply perfect pressure.
I don't think that'll be an
down,
issue.
Mr.
Look at his traps. They're riddled around every. Yep.
No, it seems
I assume that this is a down.
Costco's committing to the gen, but he goes. Is he gonna go down? He goes down. Two
Yep.
survivors are slugged. This could spell death for all of them. Junrei committing to a generator as well. Actually, no, he's gonna go ahead and hide next to it. I thought he was just gonna get it popped up.
A definite recipe for disaster. The traps are just too useful.
Alright, so Junrei's going back to the generator. Costco just got picked up by Griff. I think he's on his struggle hook, and that's Mr. Mythic, not Costco. Mr. Mythic is dead. So Griff does have two survivors left to worry about. But I think Junrei is going to be popping this last gen. If Griff goes to pick up Costco, this is definitely an exit pop. Yeah, it seems Griff is too far away to stop this from happening. And the exits do get popped.
I wonder if he's thought about the exit gates. I wonder if any traps are set strategically to try and stop them. It doesn't seem as if they are.
No, he currently does not have any traps set at the gates. He is opting to slug Costco, though, to look around for where Junrei might be.
Do you think he knows where Costco is, or do you think he just hasn't? He's looking for both.
I think he knows the general area where he downed him nearby the shack. He was within heartbeat last time I checked on him, so maybe he discovered his body while I was spectating Junrei. That could have definitely been a factor.
Possibly. I mean, he is looking at corners of the map. It's really hard to tell which survivor he's actually looking for. I feel like if he finds either, it'll be beneficial towards him, but...
Junrei actually crept along the side of the map and came over to save Costco, but unfortunately Griff is coming within heartbeat.
Ooh, this is
But
definitely a recipe.
But Griff definitely doesn't know where they are because he just left heartbeat after Costco got picked up.
Very unfortunate, very unfortunate. Seeing Costco proc and Costco's avatar proc and be fully healed might put a little bit of heat on the back of his neck, trying
Definitely. Seems they are urbanly evading towards the gate without urban evasion, an interesting tactic by the survivors.
to... That's interesting. That's immersion if I've ever seen it.
Okay, so Costco's popping open the exit gate and Griff is coming over to put a stop to it immediately. Opting to swing on Junrei first, and then going to cut off Costco. And barely connects the end of the lunge. Can he catch Costco at the edge of the gate? Oh no. Costco tried to commit to the gate and gets picked up an inch away from escaping.
Ooh,
That is
wow.
a feels bad, man. Wow.
I wonder if General will try and be a hero in this situation, or if
Junrei is staying very close by. This is a very risky play because Griff does play on high volume as killer. I know this from my experience with him as a friend. So if he walks over and hears Junrei, he's pretty much dead. And I think Junrei is just opting to get himself forced out at this point because he's running next to the exit gate. Or he could stick around.
I have no doubt that Griff saw and is just kind of baiting a little bit. I have no doubt at all.
Oh no, it looks like Griff looped back around and cut Junrei off. It seems like this is gonna be a 4K after the gates were popped. And it is indeed a 4K. How unfortunate.
Griff is too smart to let Junrei stand around. It's just not something you toy with. It's not a killer you toy with. When you're going against Griff and you're injured and you have to get that last survivor off the hook, there's just no way you're gonna get that done. I think it would just be smarter to leave. Save yourself the trouble and some points.
It really would have been the better choice to just leave. Griff is a very smart killer and played that perfectly, looping around to the exit gate to cut him off.
Like I said, I have no doubt that he saw him when he hid in that small, shrubble of tall grass.
I believe it as well. So even though the gates got popped and one was open, Griff was able to salvage that 4K in the end. Curious to see how many points he came out with on top. Alright, so the highest scoring survivor was Costco with only 19,000, unfortunately, followed by Junrei with 16,000, Mr. Mythic at 15, and Jimmy with a very low 12,000. Very unfortunate. But Griff, on the other hand, came out on top with a whopping 31,111 points, very close to a perfect score, once again. Alright, we have Anger Ranger playing Leatherface this time. Now this is one killer. Given the fact that he has a one-shotting capability, it proves for much more intense situations in the match. So I'm excited to see if Anger Ranger can take advantage of it.
You want that extra ability, which is just flying around the map and not being able to move if you hit something.
Definitely, and it seems Costco is the one to, will not necessarily be found, but, the killer is near him at the moment. He's gonna get a stealth killer stun at the start of the game. That's an easy 1,000 points for him. Anger Ranger opting to break the chase and kick the generator. Not too sure if he's gonna have any idea where Costco is gone after that, since he chose not to stay on him. Mysterious Mythic coming out of the basement with a yellow med kit. Junrei working on the main building generator at about 80% with Costco. And Anger Ranger is close by. Oh, he's actually on Jimmy the 13th underneath them. Not too sure what that swing was. I think Anger Ranger expected him to vault the pallet, but he didn't. Nonetheless, he finds Costco, and he throws down a pallet and points at him right after it being broken. Wonder if he's trying to toy with the killer. Anger Ranger prematurely revs his chainsaw at the pallet, so Costco doesn't receive any damage. And I'm not sure how that wasn't a pallet stun, and then he hits Costco outside of the window drop down? That looked very weird on my screen. I'm not too sure how that happened.
That's interesting.
He didn't get the stun, but then he landed that very absurd looking hit. It seems Jimmy the 13th and Costco are close by to the killer. Jimmy making the smart choice of leaving while Costco is going down below to a very dangerous part of the shack. But I don't think Anger Ranger was playing with enough sound to hear him. Yeah, he definitely didn't hear him. He walked away.
I'll be right back.
Anger Ranger just kind of scouring the edges of the map trying to find a survivor, and the generator pops right in front of him conveniently. I think that's Mr. Mythic that failed that. It is indeed. Mr. Mythic decides to hop into a locker, right back out, but eats a chainsaw for his mistake. Very unfortunate. So he should be taking his first hook right now. pressure for Anger Ranger isn't looking too good at the moment. He's got a lot of generators tapped up. 2 of them already have been popped, and only 1 hook has gone out so far. And unfortunately, Jimmy the 13th gets mind gamed at the pallet loop. I do believe it had to do with some of that pallet lag there. So he's going to be taking his first hook as well. And he sees Costco going for the save. I think he's going to sacrifice hooking him to stop Costco from getting this save. Or he could be taking advantage of the situation to rehook him, and that's exactly what he's doing. Actually, a very smart play by Anger Ranger in that scenario. So now he's chasing Costco away from the hook to a pallet loop, but I'm pretty sure Costco's going to be able to land, and he doesn't. He actually eats a hit before. So I do believe Anger Ranger has these 3 generators in very close proximity that he could take advantage of, but all of them are tapped up to almost 99. And Costco unfortunately goes down at a pallet loop. Mr. Mythic coming to block the hook, but I don't believe he's gonna block with enough time. Jimmy the 13th trying to put forth to the effort as well, but Anger Ranger is still gonna land that hook. And Jimmy instantly unhooks Costco and sacrifices himself. I'm not too sure why he did that with such haste. Okay, so Anger Ranger's gone from a pretty slow start to some very decent pressure now. He's got Jimmy the 13th within struggle state, all the survivors injured, and Mr. Mythic going down as well for his second hook now, I believe. In a perfect world, Anger Ranger would have protected those 3 gens in the back corner and made sure they didn't get put up to 99 because he's exhausted most of the pallets in the area, so that would become pretty much a dead zone for any survivor trying to repair those gens. And they do pop up one of the close generators, so his 3 gen is broken at this point. And he lands a really solid chainsaw mind game around the trees, and that's going to be the death hook of Jimmy the 13th. Mysterious Mythic struggling on top of the main building as well. This is insane pressure for Anger Ranger now. He's definitely picked it up a notch. He's definitely going to opt to chase Costco as soon as he gets up here to avoid tumbling. He doesn't need to. He has his chainsaw. Costco does go down immediately. Junrei trying to pop a generator and get some survivor momentum back up. Things are looking pretty bad for them so far.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Mysterious Mythic dead on hook, Costco second stage, and Junrei, I believe he hasn't been hooked yet, but the gates have been popped very quickly actually. I don't think these guys are taking any chances with the situation that they have on their hands.
Yeah.
So we have Costco getting saved by Junrei, Mysterious Mythic being chased, and he's dead on hook, so I don't even blame him for wasting the shot power in that situation. He's just trying to gain some ground and get away from the killer to survive. Ranger's still kind of hot on Mr. Mythic's trail. Well, not anymore. I thought he saw him. I definitely saw him outside of the building, but he's caught onto the blood trail now. We have Junrei going to open up an unopened exit gate. And it seems Costco's been found by the killer now. Anger Ranger revving his chainsaw, getting rid of a pallet relatively quickly. That was a very good move by him. I think Costco's going to use his pallet and he is. Oh no, Costco's being chased right next to the exit gate, but he does have a jungle gem to avoid the killer. And Anchor Ranger's chainsaw stops just short of hitting Mythic, but he M1s him right after anyways. It looks like he's slugging Mr. Mythic to try and catch Costco here, but he revved that chainsaw a bit too early. It looks like he's opting to just secure his second kill and get some more points. Mr. Mythic not even trying to wiggle. I believe he's just given up and accepted his defeat.
Huh.
And that is his death. So Junior and Costco are just chilling at the gate. Junior's actually past the threshold, so he has to leave. Same goes for Costco, and they do exit. So, a bit of a... I don't know. That game ended too quickly, in my opinion. Junior only walked out with 19,000 as the top survivor. Costco, second place with 18,000. Junior the 13th and third with 7k. And Mythic with 7k as well. And Anchor Ranger only scored 19k as the killer, which is very unfortunate. I believe our fourth and final killer is gonna be Skooks. Well, I've actually been... Alright, so Game 4 is live. We have Tavion playing Doctor. An interesting choice for this map. Ooh. Interesting killer. We've been all over the board today. We've seen a nurse, a hag, a Leatherface, and now a doctor. And it seems Junior is being found right off the bat due to that initial Carter Spark Madness 1 proc that goes off once your maturity is for too long. Fails to land any of the shocks on Junior, but he smacks him. Let's take a quick look at the survivors. Mythic on a generator, Costco on one as well, and Jimmy the 13th running around the edge of the map.
Definitely some great progress coming out from the survivors beforehand.
Yeah, 2 generators should be popped by the time the generator does get caught, which is very good kiting on his part. I don't know why Junrei went away from that pallet. He could have easily used that to stay alive, but unfortunately he does go down with a decent 1,000 golders to chase.
Interesting move there. Maybe he just assumed there would be a jungle pallet a little bit further.
Not too sure. Either way, it looks like he's gonna be going on a hook. 10 hook save. Very unfortunate.
Oh, wow.
Very unfortunate. So that's
some sloppy altruism for you.
Definitely. That's 2 free hooks for Tavion right now. On Juno and Jimmy. It's very good momentum for him. It seems that Mythic's Madness just went off. He's gonna be getting shot here. Tavion's smacking Jimmy to the floor just to incapacitate him and make sure he can't get anything done while he goes to go chase Mr. Mythic. Actually, he's going back. I think he's gonna try and chase Costco now? Or is he just warding him off? This hit'll be cool. No, he should. I don't know why he didn't go for that window hit. He could have easily landed that. Very interesting plays. So Tavion is back on Jimmy the 13th, and I believe 2 gens have been popped, so the tunneling rule is no longer a thing, I believe? Is that how it works? 2 gens get done and you can tunnel?
Maybe just because I know I read Griff saying that.
I believe that's what it is, so that may be why he was trying to chase Jimmy again.
I, for one, didn't even know there was a tunneling rule.
Neither did
Place
I
at all.
at first. And Junrei tries to do the reverse pallet stun, but actually eats a hit for it.
Yeah.
And Tavion opting to break chase so he can kick in the generator. Mr. Mythic carelessly wasting the Shack pallet rather than running through it and trying to make a use of the loop. Very, very,
Painful.
very painful to watch that go down.
Twice.
Oh, and the Carter Spark actually cut off his window loop there, but Tavion misses his free swing. And then he misses another one because Mythic actually made this vault. Very unfortunate. But Mythic jumps into Tavion for some reason. I think he's definitely going to take a hit here. He does. And unfortunately, now that the Shack pallet is gone, he's going to have to go right through. He won't be able to make much use of it. Costco sabotaging a hook. Jimmy the 13th getting healed up by Junrei. And Mythic still running away from Tavion. Mythic is just burning these pallets at this point. Not really taking any chances with looping, just kind of throwing them right before he gets shocked.
Not something you've really seen out of the games. You haven't really seen this from Mr. Mythic. Maybe he's just chose to, I don't know, underperform since it's his last game, and maybe he's just content with some other scores he's gotten prior, but
Not too sure, but nonetheless, he does go down, and 3 generators have been popped total. The pressure is not looking good for Tavion.
Kotex, you've missed 3 games. This is the last one of the night. Costco getting that save and then getting hit.
Costco getting that pallet respected. And Costco has been pointing at killers after throwing pallets down a lot recently, just kind of taunting them. But unfortunately, that's going to come back to bite him because he's going to go down now. I do believe by the time he gets to the top of these stairs, he should take the hit. Because the pallet is gone. Actually, he's making it a lot farther than I thought he would have. How's he going to play this out? He's gonna vault right into the head on the first mind game. Very unfortunate for Costco.
And a bit cocky there with the tapping of the 1. Definitely didn't work out in his favor.
And I think Tavion heard Junrei because he immediately looked up after downing Costco, like he knew someone would be up top to try and body block.
I'm sure he'll be exiting Afghanistan shortly.
Yeah, there's a helicopter outside of them. I'm really sorry about that. I'm just gonna move my mic really quick till that goes away. Alright, I do believe our troops are en route to wherever they need to go. Should be good from here on out.
Tavion hooking Mr. Mythic.
Yes. It seems Jimmy the 13th just got hit near the hook and is gonna go down because Mr. Mythic exhausted the pallets of this area already.
I'm sorry, Mysterious Mythic.
Mr. Mythic, Mysterious Mythic. He has multiple aliases. He's quite the mysterious Mister himself.
Jimmy definitely going to be going down, but it seems like There's a lot of progress coming out from the survivors. Only one gen left, and none dead.
Got a double heal going out on both of these survivors, Junrei and Mysterious Mythic. They kind of gen rushed Tavion at the start of this game. You know, a lot of the gens got popped quickly. Costco still sabotaging like a true gamer. He's perched on the edge of the top of the shark shack there like a gargoyle. And he's gonna be running over to this hook save to save Jimmy the 13th. Costco's gonna take a smack. David King growling very loudly. Finds Junrei crouching next to a bunch of boxes. Very interesting play. It's always
all the survivors hit now.
It's always interesting hearing the groans of pain that some of these new characters have. It's very funny.
Yeah, I feel like they just lost all unique ability at Lori. Kind of just started making survivors sound like porn actresses and wild animals.
Yeah. I wish I could laugh harder about that, but we have to be professional at the moment. So, all the survivors injured besides Costco right now. Tavion just kind of chasing after Jimmy the 13th into the main building. He actually opts not to use the main window, and he's gonna actually go down because of that decision, I'm pretty sure. Nope, he's gonna get the killer stone on the Costco, but run into a wall. Gosh, these heartbeats are sounding a lot closer than the killer actually is. You know, they're not really looking behind them, the survivors, when they're running, so it's hard for me to gauge where the killer exactly is.
Yeah, you think that when Jimmy vaulted that window, he was down for sure.
Yeah. But regardless, Jimmy does juke Tavion at the main building and gets away. All the generators finally being popped up. And everyone's just chilling at the moment. Nobody's really under any pressure. Gates are about to be popped up. It seems to have been a quick game. The only downside is going to be low points because not a lot of altruism was spread around.
Of course. But that's a good thing also for the survivors because they're, with the diversity of the killers, they can actually... I think it's just chosen out of the games you play, right? Which game you want to affect your score, or which game that actually...
No, each and every one accumulates to your average.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
That was the other event.
It's still beneficial to the survivors because their average isn't tarnished too much, considering that they have got some high point games.
And unfortunately, Mr. Mythic is going to die because he got caught at the end of the game. You know, I was watching how he went down, and he was kind of safe at the start. He was on top of the main building, and he jumped down for some reason into an electric shock and got smacked right after.
Yeah,
I'm not too... You know, it's become a really bad habit for the survivors to not look behind them. Like, Junrei's doing a good job of looking around while he's running. He didn't see where the doctor was. But, you know, looking behind you while you're running is very important. And unfortunately, Junrei does go down. So Jimmy the 13th is healed, running around the edges of the map. I believe he's looking for totems, maybe? Or the hatch. Totems or the hatch. Could be both. Costco just decides to leave and secure his points for the final game and just say, forget altruism.
Doctor's finger's looking nasty.
Yeah, very interesting. And the 13th unfortunately gets found, and he's going to sacrifice himself to save Junrei and pull him off of the hook. Unfortunately, Junior is getting forced out. Jimmy the 13th's noble sacrifice got him an escape. And I don't think Tavion knows exactly where Jimmy's crawling off to. He walked right over him. I think he's just seen him. There's no way he hasn't. Yeah, he has. Would have been quite interesting to see Jimmy actually crawl off and find the hatch somewhere. What a lucky play that'd be. And that's the end of game 4.
Really eventful set of matches. I could not be more happy with.
I was really pleased with Griff's performance. His hag gameplay was very good. A lot of point generation on that.
The diversity between the killers is much appreciated as well.
Definitely. So it looks like the top scoring survivor was Costco with 21,907 points. Junrei second place with 17k. Mythic with 15. And Jimmy running perks with 12k. He has perks on, but I do believe it was supposed to be disabled. I think that's a bug. And he was perkless. Yeah, that definitely would have been a bug. But Tavion walked away with 27,000 with only 2 kills, which is a very good score despite not getting the 4k.
It's about the same as the nurse. 2 very, really good point generating killers.
Definitely. Alright, well, it looks like that ends today's string of matches. So, thank you all for watching. I will see you later.